Ladies and gentlemen, you've been lied to. They told you if you're a nice guy, you'll get the job, you'll get the girl, you'll get the respect. But here's the truth: nice guys get nothing. They finish last, they get overlooked, they get played, and they get left behind. You think kindness is strength. No, uncontrolled kindness is weakness. Nice guys live in a cage made of fear, fear of rejection, fear of judgment, fear of standing up. You bite your tongue when you're disrespected. You agree when you're wronged, you apologize when you're not at fault, you think you're being mature, you think you're taking the high road, you're not. Nice guys don't win because their entire mindset is built on seeking approval. They're not trying to dominate, they're not trying to lead, they're not even trying to build something powerful, they're trying to be liked. And when you live to be liked, you compromise your masculinity, your standards, and your future. Approval seeking is the disease of weak men. You say yes to things you hate, you tolerate disrespect, you laugh when people mock you just so you can fit in, you shrink when you're supposed to stand up all because you're afraid of not being accepted. That is not noble, that is pathetic. Do you want to know why powerful men run the world? Because they don't ask for permission, they command space. They enter a room and people feel their presence. Not because they smile or play nice, but because they move with certainty, with discipline, with authority. And nice guys, they blend into the background, they say the right things, they nod their heads. They hold back their opinions, they become invisible. You don't get remembered for being agreeable. You get remembered for standing out, for standing firm, for saying what needs to be said and doing what needs to be done regardless of who likes it. And here's the hard truth: most nice guys aren't even truly nice. They're manipulators. They think if they do enough favors, stay quiet long enough, and act sweet, they'll get something in return: admiration, love, sex, opportunity. But life doesn't work like that. You can't trade people. Pleasing for power, you can't swap self, sacrifice for success. Nobody owes you anything just because you're easy to deal with. Power is taken, not given. Respect is earned, not requested, and freedom is fought for, not handed out. You can spend your whole life trying to be liked, or you can choose to be respected, but you can't have both. You can't be obsessed with validation and also be a man of value. Because men of value walk alone, they take hard stances, and they're willing to be misunderstood. Weak men follow the herd, strong men lead it. The reason you're stuck financially, emotionally, physically is because you're too scared to disappoint people. You're too scared to say no, you're too scared to break away from average, and this fear has chained your potential. You act small, you think small, you make weak moves because you're addicted to comfort and applause. And what does that get you? Broken relationships, no purpose, no discipline, no respect, no identity. You want to change your life, then stop trying to win everyone over. People pleasing is the slowest form of self-destruction. Every time you say yes when you mean no, you betray yourself. Every time you bite your tongue instead of speaking the truth, you dilute your masculinity. Every time you back down from conflict, you shrink your power. If you want to be a king, you must be willing to piss people off. You must be willing to walk away. You must be willing to outgrow circles, outgrow friendships, outgrow environments that expect you to stay small. Because power doesn't belong to the agreeable, it belongs to the relentless, the bold, the decisive, the men who operate with conviction, not convenience. And look, this doesn't mean you become rude or reckless. That's not power either. Real power is calm, it's disciplined, it's under control. It doesn't scream for attention. It doesn't beg to be liked. It just is. When a lion walks into the jungle, he doesn't explain himself. He doesn't apologize for his roar. He doesn't try to convince the animals he's harmless. He knows who he is. That's the energy you need to carry. That's how you win. Stop waiting for people to validate your worth. Validate it yourself through action, through discipline, through results. Build your mind, build your body, build your income, build your boundaries, and never break them for anyone who doesn't add to your mission. You weren't born to be the nice guy. You were born to conquer, to dominate, to lead. So stop apologizing for your strength. Stop softening your tone. Stop shrinking your goals to make others comfortable. Stop being the nice guy and start being the man who creates, commands, and conquers his world. Being too agreeable makes you forgettable. It erases your presence, blurs your identity, and turns you into background noise in your own life. You're not respected, you're not remembered, you're just tolerated quietly, politely, and completely insignificantly. This is what happens to men who fear rejection more than they desire power. You become the guy everyone likes, but no one listens to. You're easy to be around, but you're easy to ignore, because nothing about you stands firm. Nothing about you screams leader. You compromise on your thoughts, your values, your time, just to get along. And in the process, you lose every ounce of self-respect. Being agreeable is the default setting for weak men. It's the result of being trained to be nice, to keep the peace, to stay quiet when your instincts tell you to speak up. But what has that ever gotten you? Has being nice made you powerful? Has being agreeable made you rich, respected, or dominant? No. It's made you invisible. Understand this. The world doesn't respect cowards who hide behind politeness. It respects men who stand by what they believe in, even if the entire room disagrees. You want to be unforgettable, then you better be unshakable. You better be the guy who doesn't fold when pressure shows up. You better be the guy who speaks with clarity and moves with intention, because here's the truth: people don't follow people they like. They follow people they trust, and they trust those who are firm, not flexible. Direct, not diluted. Strong, not soft. You can't lead anyone your business, your family, your woman if you're scared to make people uncomfortable. Every time you hold back your truth to keep others happy, you lower your value in their eyes. They may smile in your face, but they'll never truly trust you, never truly respect you, never truly follow you. And let's not pretend this is about kindness. This is about fear. The agreeable man is terrified of conflict. He thinks silence is safer than strength, but that mindset is a trap. Avoiding conflict doesn't make you wise, it makes you a coward, and the longer you live like a coward, the more you betray your masculine nature. A man is supposed to stand on principle, stand on boundaries, stand on purpose, not sway like a leaf every time the wind blows. This is why most men never rise to greatness. They're too worried about how they'll be perceived. They don't want to rock the boat. They want to fit in, even if it means they have to shrink. But you weren't put here to blend in. You were built to lead. You were built to take up space. Start saying no. Not because you want to be rude, but because your time matters, your energy matters, your life matters. Stop agreeing to things that insult your intelligence, your discipline, and your mission. Speak with authority. Let people know where you stand. If your opinion offends someone, so be it. If your standards make people uncomfortable, let them be uncomfortable. Because weak men bend, but strong men break what needs breaking to build something better. You're not here to be liked by everyone. You're here to dominate your lane, fulfill your purpose, and leave your legacy, and none of that is possible if you're constantly watering yourself down to be acceptable. Look at every successful man you admire. He's not agreeable. He's intense, he's focused, he's unapologetically himself. That's why he stands out. That's why he commands attention. That's why he leads. Because in a world of men trying to please, the one who lives by conviction becomes unforgettable. So the next time you feel that urge to say yes, just to avoid tension, stop. Ask yourself, is this decision aligned with who I am and where I'm going? Or am I just doing this so people won't dislike me? Every moment you spend trying not to offend someone is a moment you're not living in your power. And your power is the one thing you cannot afford to give away. Once it's gone, no one gives it back. They won't even notice it's missing. Because you'll fade into the background, just like every other agreeable, polite, soft-spoken man who was too scared to leave his mark. If you want to be different, be bold. If you want to be respected, be real. And if you want to be remembered, never ever be too agreeable. Masculinity is not about being liked, it's about being respected. You weren't born to be everyone's favorite. You were born to stand out, to build, to conquer. The problem with modern men is they've been conditioned to believe that being soft, submissive, and always agreeable makes them noble. That's a lie. That mindset will strip you of your edge, your influence, your greatness. People don't follow men who are liked, they follow men they respect. And respect doesn't come from pleasing people. It comes from being a man of standards, a man of conviction, a man who does what needs to be done whether people understand it or not. You don't need approval, you need backbone. You think kings were loved by everyone? No, they were feared, admired, envied, respected, but rarely loved. Why? Because greatness demands that you say things others don't want to hear, that you move in ways others are too scared to move, that you hold yourself and others to a level most can't reach, and they hate you for it, but deep down they respect it. Respect is earned through pressure, through discipline, through action. A man who can be broken by words, ignored by peers, or thrown off by judgment is not a man, he's a puppet, and puppets don't lead. Puppets get pulled around by the strings of public opinion, begging to be accepted by people who don't even matter. You're not meant to be fragile. You're not meant to apologize for being assertive, dominant, or mission-focused. These are traits of masculinity. These are the very traits that make you a protector, a provider, and a leader. But society wants you tame, it wants you agreeable, it wants you predictable, because a man who can't say no, a man who seeks likes more than legacy, that man is easy to control. Being respected doesn't mean being rude or violent. It means being grounded, it means being a man who won't bend just to keep the peace. It means standing firm in who you are, in what you believe, and in how you operate regardless of whether anyone likes it. You need to be dangerous, not reckless, dangerous. That means you are capable of inflicting damage mentally, financially, physically, but you choose not to. That's power. That's what earns respect. A man who can destroy but chooses discipline commands authority. A man who avoids confrontation because he's weak earns pity, not admiration. The difference between the two, one has control, the other is just harmless. Stop aiming to be harmless. Harmless men are forgotten. Harmless men are replaceable. Harmless men are used. You want to be respected, become capable, become skilled, become so sharp, so focused, and so strong that your presence alone speaks before your words do. Build your value. Learn to say no with confidence. Set boundaries and don't flinch when people test them. Be ready to walk away from situations that don't serve your vision, even if it means being disliked. Because here's the truth, when you live for respect, you attract the right kind of people into your life. You attract women who admire strength, not neediness. You attract business partners who trust your leadership. You attract friends who sharpen you, not soften you. But when you live to be liked, you attract leeches, people who will drain you, use you, and then forget you. Respect is the foundation of influence. It's the currency of real power. You don't have to yell, you don't have to act tough, you just have to live with unwavering principle. That alone makes people pay attention. That alone makes them watch their tone, raise their standards, and step up when they're around you. And guess what? The world needs more of that. The world doesn't need more soft men trying to win affection. It needs more grounded men who walk with purpose and refuse to apologize for it. Stop worrying about being liked. That's childlike behavior. Be respected. That's what builds legacy. That's what commands loyalty. That's what creates empires. And here's the final truth: being respected will get you everything being liked never could. Peace of mind, control of your space, and power over your direction. So decide who you're going to be: the man who fits in, or the man who stands tall, the man who's liked today and forgotten tomorrow, or the man who's respected forever. The choice is yours. Just know this greatness doesn't bow to opinion. It creates its own rules. Being harmless is not a virtue. Being soft, passive, and afraid of conflict does not make you a good man. It makes you a man who's easy to ignore, easy to walk over, and easy to forget. The world doesn't respect harmless men, it tolerates them. It uses them. It laughs at them. If you want real power, real influence, and real confidence, you need to become dangerous and then learn how to control it. There is no strength in being unable to cause harm. Strength is having the capacity for destruction, chaos, and violence, but choosing discipline instead. That is what makes a man powerful. That is what earns respect. Because people can sense when you are capable of going to war but choose peace. It means you're not peaceful because you're weak. You're peaceful because you're in control, and that's the difference no one teaches men anymore. You've been told that being aggressive is bad, that masculinity is toxic, that strength is intimidation. But listen, your aggression is not your enemy, it's your tool, it's your weapon. It's the fire inside of you that gets you out of bed at 5 a.m., hits the gym when others sleep, rejects weakness, and forges the man you were born to be. When a man has no aggression, he becomes soft, lazy. He accepts average. He allows others to disrespect him. And worst of all, he accepts failure as his identity. But when you train your aggression, when you control it, you become focused. You become dangerous. You become untouchable. Imagine a man who's built his body into a weapon, who's built his mind into a fortress, who's built his emotions into armor. That man doesn't react to nonsense. He doesn't beg for love, beg for peace, or beg for attention. He walks into the room with presence, with purpose, with pressure, because when you're dangerous, you don't need to prove it. People feel it. Now, don't get this twisted. Being dangerous doesn't mean you lose control. It means you know how to act under pressure. It means when it's time to protect your family, your business, your values, you do it without hesitation, not with chaos, not with anger, with cold, calculated strength. That's a real man, that's a warrior. The weak man, the harmless man, he avoids conflict because he's scared. He avoids responsibility because it's hard. He apologizes for his existence, shrinks himself for others, and thinks he's doing the right thing by staying quiet. But deep down, he's miserable, resentful, and ashamed. Why? Because a man knows when he's not living at his full potential. He knows when he's hiding behind niceness. He knows when his softness is costing him opportunities, respect, and relationships. You can't fake strength. You can't pretend to be powerful. Either you are or you aren't. That's why I always say hit the gym, learn to fight, build your wealth, control your emotions, sharpen your discipline. Because when you're physically strong, financially independent, and emotionally untouchable, you become dangerous with control. That's when people respect you. That's when women trust your leadership. That's when men admire your certainty. And most importantly, that's when you start to believe in yourself. Because nothing builds self, worth faster than knowing you're capable, not just capable of kindness, capable of dominance, of direction, of protection. Harmlessness is not the goal, controlled power is. Think about it, what kind of man do you want to be? The guy who avoids confrontation and gets walked on, or the guy who can handle any situation with complete calm because he knows what he's capable of? You need to become a man who can hurt but chooses not to, a man who could destroy but builds instead, a man who never looks for a fight but ends it when it comes. That man commands respect without saying a word. So stop trying to be harmless, stop trying to please everyone, stop running from the parts of you that make you strong. You weren't made to be soft, you were made to be sharp, you were made to be fierce. You were made to conquer. And once you tap into that, once you truly become dangerous and learn how to control it, there won't be a room you walk into that doesn't feel your presence. That's when you know you've arrived. The world doesn't reward nice guys. It rewards men with discipline, with boundaries, with self-respect. You want success, you want respect, you want power. Then understand this: niceness alone gets you nothing. It's the weak man's currency. It's what men fall back on when they have nothing else to offer. Being nice is easy. Anyone can nod their head, avoid conflict, and say yes to everything. But building discipline, that's hard. Creating boundaries, that takes courage. Standing for something, that demands backbone. And that's exactly why most men stay weak, because it's easier to be liked than it is to be respected. Let's break this down. Discipline is the foundation of your power. Without discipline, you're a slave to your emotions, a prisoner to your impulses. 1 minute you're inspired, the next minute you're distracted. One day you're productive, the next you're lazy. You start something, but you never finish. You talk big, but you move small. Why? Because your habits are weak. Your discipline is non-existent. You've never trained your mind to obey your mission. If you can't control yourself, how can you expect to control anything else? Your income, your relationships, your reputation, all of it is built on your ability to get up early, grind when it's boring, stay focused when it's hard, and keep showing up when no one's watching. A man without discipline is a man without results. And don't talk to me about motivation. Motivation is a liar. It comes and goes. Discipline is what you fall back on when motivation dies, when the fire goes out, when life punches you in the mouth. The world doesn't care how motivated you are. It cares how consistent you are, and consistency is born from discipline. Now let's talk about boundaries. If you don't draw the line, people will walk all over you. They'll take your time, your energy, your peace, and your money, and then leave when you have nothing left. And you'll wonder why you feel used, why you feel drained, why no one takes you seriously. It's because you've taught them to disrespect you. Every time you say yes when you want to say no, you betray yourself. Every time you tolerate disrespect, you reinforce it. Every time you let someone cross the line without consequence, you send a message: I have no standards, walk all over me. Men with boundaries are dangerous because they're not afraid to walk away from friends, from women, from deals, from anything that threatens their peace or their purpose. They don't beg for love. They don't chase approval. They don't sacrifice their values to fit in. They know what they stand for. And more importantly, they enforce it. Having boundaries isn't selfish. It's essential. You can't lead anyone else until you can lead yourself. You can't protect others until you can protect your own time, your own standards, and your own direction. Without boundaries, you're just a people pleaser wearing a mask, pretending to be strong. And lastly, self-respect. Self-respect is the internal compass that guides everything you do. It's the voice that says you deserve better when people treat you poorly. It's the voice that says get up when you feel like quitting. It's the force that pushes you to chase greatness, not validation. When you truly respect yourself, everything changes. You stop chasing women who don't value you. You stop spending time with people who drain you. You stop wasting days scrolling, drinking, complaining, and start building. Building your physique, your finances, your future. Because deep down, you know this life owes you nothing and no one's coming to save you. Self-respect turns you into a machine. You start thinking long-term. You start operating with purpose. You stop tolerating mediocrity from others and from yourself. You stop waiting for opportunity and you start creating it. That's what makes a man powerful, not his niceness, and not his smile, not how many people like him. What makes a man powerful is his discipline, his boundaries, and his self-respect. These are the things that build empires, attract real loyalty, and command fear without saying a word. So let the nice guys keep chasing validation. Let them keep apologizing, compromising, and getting walked on. You become the man who sets standards and lives by them, the man who builds when others sleep. The man who walks with quiet strength, the man who chooses power over popularity, because in this world nice guys don't win, but men of principle, they win forever. You've spent too long trying to be the nice guy. And what has it given you? Nothing. No power, no respect, no legacy. Just wasted years being agreeable, tolerable, and forgettable. But deep down, you've known it all along. Nice guys don't win, they survive. They settle, they get overlooked, stepped on, and replaced. Because the truth is brutal but simple. The world rewards strength, not softness. You were taught to seek approval. You were trained to avoid confrontation. You were told that if you stayed kind, stayed silent, and stayed safe, life would reward you. But life doesn't reward obedience, it rewards dominance. It rewards courage. It rewards men who stand for something. You want power, then stop living for permission. You want respect, then stop begging to be liked. You want to be remembered, then stop hiding in the shadow of politeness. Every great man who changed the world, the warrior, the king, the visionary, he wasn't liked by everyone. He was feared, he was respected, he was powerful, because he knew exactly who he was, and he refused to compromise for anyone. That's the path in front of you now. Stop seeking comfort. Build discipline, do the hard things even when no one's watching. Stop giving your time away to people who drain you. Set boundaries and enforce them. Stop apologizing for wanting more. Your goals are valid. Your standards are necessary, and your time is valuable. And above all, respect yourself, because no one else will until you do. When you stop being the nice guy, something shifts. You stop shrinking. You stop explaining. You stop being everyone's backup plan and start becoming a man with a mission. Your voice gets louder, your presence gets heavier, your energy changes and people feel it. They might not like it, but they'll never ignore you again, so let the world adjust to your new standard. You weren't born to be liked. You were born to lead. And leadership starts the moment you decide to stop being the nice guy and start being the man you were always meant to be. Now go become him.